All right. Welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, Day 70. So, here's the standard intro. There is, once again, no substantial updates, other than last week I found out the next hearing date is October 6th. And other than that, of course today I worked on the next video. Actually, the filming for this one, it only took me a day to film it. But the editing, I thought I could pump it out maybe in one day, but it's dragging on. But there's only, I would say I'm halfway done the editing, so hopefully that'll be in the next few days. Other than that, we will continue on with work on the block mining simulation game. Like I said, some uncommitted changes. So yesterday, I think where I left off, there was identified some new failure cases with my one of my unit tests in the actually a couple of them in the intersection related test, and that makes sense because it is possible now to represent zero-sized regions. So for this dimension, this now represents a width of 0. So the volume of that space, it has no volume. So my first day at one of your live chats. Although I love some of your videos, I sent you a gift to one of them. I was curious what the series is about. Oh, thank you for the gift. Which video was the? Which video did you put the gift on? I'm curious. I'll feed that into my my mental model of what to focus more on. What do you actually mean by this raising funds for world domination? I guess that's a good question. So I have a video. I'm going to be a long form video. I'm going to be putting out within the next couple of days that will provide some more details on that. Let's see. I guess I started. Yeah. So the original reason I started was that was back start of May, I think. So around that time, I had just finished working on, what was I working on before that? Oh yeah, I think that there was another, that might have been my immigration video. I finished that. So I had some downtime so I had to think about what is the next project to work on. And that was when I had my L2 merits eviction hearing coming up on May 26th. So around the start of May. So I decided that it made sense to do work on something because it's kind of stressful and disruptive, and there's a few days where I had to talk to some other tenants and deal with stuff, and so since it was kind of disruptive, I wanted to work on something that was where it was okay if I get interrupted from it. And what else was it? Oh, I had a bunch of other obligations, so I was like, I'll just work on something that's like a kind of an easy thing I can deal with getting interrupted by. So I just decided to start that series, and it's also I think it was also partially an experiment to see what would happen if I live stream every day. So when I live streamed back starting around Christmas or so, there was a reasonable number of super chats and like members and stuff like that. So I thought if I stream more regularly, maybe I can get maybe I'll get like, you know, a handful of, if I got like 2 or 3 $1 members or something per chat per stream, then maybe that could work. That could actually be another reasonable growth model. So I did that for a while, or I guess I've been doing that for 70 days now. So I have 70 days worth of data on like, is this a financially viable thing? Like, is there enough like random $5 super chats to make this like a viable thing? The other reason I like it too is because I can live stream anything, so I can actually work on something. And then the question is, can I actually just do work and achieve like meaningful progress on something while I just like sit around here and, you know, chat with people and sometimes get some channel members and super chats and stuff. And the conclusion so far, it does kind of seem like it could be sustainable. Like if I did theoretically just do it, you know, 8 hours a day or something every single day or 5 days a week, I think it would definitely pay less than like a regular software development full-time job, but the long-term upside of it could potentially be better, because if I can actually build a piece of intellectual property or build something else that compounds for the future. The other possibility is like actually editing down some of the stuff, like clipping stuff, and trying to grow with like clips of shorts and stuff. But I don't at the moment I don't really have the time to even work on that. So yeah, that's kind of a long-winded answer, but I guess it's more or less like it's a title that solicits the possibility of super chats, but it's just kind of like a low stakes for fun thing. So if people give me money, then that's great, and if they don't, then that's also all right. Hey, Mr. Software, is Vim your favorite editor? I would say it is. Yeah, a lot of people want me to use NeoVim, and it's on my to-do list to try that, but I don't have the time yet. Today, my daily focus recently is getting the next video out, and I think within the next couple of days I will have that published, and then the next thing after that is people keep asking me to use AI tools, and I am kind of behind on that. I've never made any serious attempts to do like vibe coding or anything yet, so that'll have to be something I try in the near future. All right, it says there is a difference. So I thought about this, and there is going to have to be I think the right answer for this, this is more like a standard. I have to figure out what the intersect function should return, and I think there's probably going to be 2 new cases. So 0 to 0 minus 2 to 0, minus 2 to 1, reporting for domination duty. At ease, soldier. So I think this answer makes sense. So 0 to 0, minus 2 to 1. It says the intersection is at 0, between 0 and 0. That makes sense? And then between minus 2 and 0, intersected with minus 2 and minus 1. Sense, minus 2 to minus 1, then minus 2 to minus 2 to 1 intersected with 0 to 1, intersects 0 to 1. That looks correct. Have you read O-step before? I'm not familiar with that. O-S-T-E-B. Not even sure how to say that. I don't even know what it's related to. Hi, Robert. I'm back again. How's it going? Nice. This is actually interesting to see. These 0 errors get resolved. Yeah, this is mainly like a new case that was introduced. So the whole point of this refactoring arc that I've been doing since the 27th is related to. So this year is the data structure I'm refactoring. I've called it the cuboid address. So it's just a way of describing space. So you basically take two vertices, the two corners of like a n-dimensional hypercube. So like on the 2D plane, you take two corners of the square, the corner with the lowest coordinate pair and the highest coordinate pair, and that top right and bottom left corner, and then use that to describe where in space that square is. And the change I made was in the convention of when points are passed in. The convention I had previously was for the upper address. It was inclusive, but I changed that to be exclusive. And the result of that, the desired result, is that it is possible now to represent zero-sized regions, which was not a thing before. So now there's a whole bunch of other like. I have to go back through the entire application and convert everything. And that's this is for a test case that's now failing because it expected the intersection to be null, but it's actually this. Operating systems. 3 easy pieces. I haven't heard of that. Is it a book or an online resource? I've done quite a bit of operating system stuff in undergrad. I feel like I don't know. I've learned enough theory. I need to just build more stuff now. By the way, I think Shift plus insert would paste your clipboard into the terminal instead of right-clicking with your mouse. Actually, I think I can also do Control Shift V. I think, or what is it? Oh yeah, I could just do Control Shift V too. So on line 836. The issue now is the empirical intersection is being calculated wrong. That makes sense, because this check is not correct. Pretty cool to see unit tests failing when you do a code change. Yeah, I guess if your tests are, that's the whole idea of unit tests. They're not super useful if they don't catch those kinds of regressions. I guess in this case it's not a regression, it's more the test case itself is not correct. So it's calculating the set of coordinates that are contained within the region. But I guess what I want to do, what makes sense, I need to make, well, what I think makes sense for the function is the actual intersection function should return zero-sized regions of space. But I still need to calculate what that is in this test code. But when this happens, when there's no actual like coordinates that are in there, so it's really about JUnit. Yeah, I think it's JUnit. Can you debug through the test or see local variables? I don't need that at the moment. That is possible. I'm more or less just thinking about. I know what the issue is. In fact, this is exactly what I expected through making this change, because now. So this. The issue here is that this, in my program, this thing describes a zero-sized region of space. So this describes a region of space where the x-coordinate is greater than or equal to 0, but less than 0. So that means it has to be, to satisfy those constraints, it's of 0 size on the x dimension, and on the y dimension it's got those sizes and whatever. So as a result of that, the test code, which was written before I did this refactoring, is now failing. So now I have to fix the test case. You can actually draw a pixelated version of your test. Debug it visually. You can draw a pixelated version of your test. I'm not sure what that would mean in this context. It's 5:32 a.m. It's past your bedtime. (9:32 p.m.) It's 10:33 p.m. here. Slumped AF. Hi, how's your day going? Not too bad. Just doing some, got a bit of work done on the next video. And then now we are on to trying to fix some test cases, because I updated how my the function works internally. What would have made you accept your NVIDIA job offer? I don't know. It's hard to go back to that now. I was also kind of I was kind of partway through school too, so I wanted to finish school at the time. That was another thing. Of course, lots more money. I mean, if they had if they could just have told me in advance how much their stock would go up, that would have that probably would have sold it. But of course, then I would have had to sit on that for 10 years before it actually returned anything. Kanzana Vlogs says, hi again. How's it going? I hate when companies don't tell me the future. Yeah, especially in relation to their stock options. That would be really nice if they would just give you a graph of how much their stock is going to be worth at a particular time. So the key problem here is that this test does not work with zero science regions. Recently had an impulse to purchase a phone due to the cellular modem failing in my old phone. The modem failed in your phone? Usually that's... I don't know. I don't even know how you'd isolate that as the cause. This new phone has Starlink support. Interesting. So can it connect directly to Starlink, or do you need like a local Starlink modem or uplink? Would be in a call and it would just degrade then drop. It could also happen with Wi-Fi and cellular at random. This combo of wireless modem chip that fails a lot. Usually the chip itself doesn't fail. I guess if there's some bad firmware on it or something, that makes sense, but Starlink support to me means receive constellation signals directly. This new phone has native Starlink support, so like no additional hardware. Wow, and is it like is it fast and cheap? I think Google was pushing bad firmware, to be honest. It also have random system UI crashes. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at that. It's a great way to get people to upgrade their phones. Just push bad software and then they can't use it. How does it send signals? Yeah, I would imagine that's honestly, that's a fairly impressive feat of engineering, that a satellite could actually read the signals from that. I mean, it almost sounds like the type of thing a conspiracy theorist would suggest, that satellites can pick up your phone signals. But of course they do. Slowest of the slow, only about 128k per second. And it's still pretty good. That's like 10 times faster than I had dial-up internet back in the day. Currently limited to texting. At some point, T-Mobile is going to unlock general purpose app data. They want to implement it so that only one app can use it at a time. Voice is unstable due to latency variations. I mean, still an impressive technical feat. I mean, that'll be an amazing development. That'll mean you can go in the middle of the woods and do work and code. Error message. Internal server error. Details. Null pointer exception. Thank you to James Goodrich for the $10 and the null pointer exception. I wonder if there are any unsanitized inputs with super chats where you can trigger internal server errors. All right, for this case, I'll leave the other tests alone just so that they're more rigorous. And then for this one, I'll just have to manually calculate the bounds. Bro just did a negative $10. How? It looks positive enough to me. It would be interesting if there was they had a bug like that. I've heard of I think in some shopping carts. I think that was a bug that existed in some shopping carts where you can just you could inspect element and then change the price of something to be negative and get stuff for free or get money back. So I guess this is what I need. I think. Cheerio is complete. Now I can start some coding. Excellent. And you're now number 1. YouTube has decided to crown you for your generous super chat. How come your UI didn't convert USD to CAD. It does randomly. So if you keep an eye on it, right now it's in US dollars, even though it doesn't say it. But if you watch it, it'll randomly change and express it in Canadian dollars at like a random time, and then it just alternates going back and forth throughout the entire stream. I haven't looked to see if there's a specific timer or something. Maybe it might be like every 30 minutes or something. Something like that. Or it's random. Now this might possibly work. All that white space would drive me nuts. Have you ever met the other Waterloo software YouTuber before? I'm sure there's probably a bunch of them. Nicholas T. I'm not sure if I've heard of him. There's another guy who had he had a few, like a million view videos about like doing internships and stuff. I forget what his name was. All right, I got an off by 1 error. Yes, that is definitely not correct. That makes sense because this should not have the +1. Look at that worked. Let's do more test cases. It's not enough. Let's do 10,000. I think that's him. What is your morning routine? Morning routine is, let's see, wake up. Sometimes it's brush teeth and make coffee. Or if I'm being efficient, maybe I'll put on coffee and then brush my teeth while the coffee's cooking. And then sometimes it's wake up, immediately go to the computer, and sometimes be on the computer for an hour, sometimes before I brush my teeth, depending on if it's like a bunch of, if it's something it's getting my attention. Yeah, not a lot other than that, other than wake up, brush teeth, coffee, and then go on the computer. Sometimes it's get distracted with news or just like whatever random things happen in the last 24 hours. Or there's a few times when I'm like really into working on something, like the when I was doing my back before on day, what was it, day 6, I think it was in the day 50 something, I was working on a bunch of rendering bugs with the block mining simulation game. And as soon as I when I woke up, before I got out of bed, I was thinking about how to fix some of the bugs. And then I remember I got up actually quite early one day, and then just came to the computer and fixed it, or tried to fix it, and then I ended up spending I think most of the day working on it, but eventually I figured it out. Wake up, brush teeth, be dangerous. Yep. Wake up, tear my sandpaper eyelids off my cornea. Yeah, that's what it feels like some days. Starbucks is getting expensive. Sell Tesla calls. Yeah, I mean, maybe I guess I'm not sure how long you've been doing the day trading stuff, but I remember back when I was 19 and I was thinking I actually spent a lot of time watching the stock market, thinking, man, if I could just like focus on this, pure algorithmic thing, and then like never have to get a real job and just write code, they would automatically trade, and I could trade up this like $1 million account. That'd be so great, but unfortunately that reality did not materialize. So I guess not touching grass is your ritual. It depends. I very much like touching grass. Actually, you'll see in my next video once I actually get it out. I went out and touched some grass. But yeah, I don't go out and touch as much grass as I'd like. If only we could do the double slit experiment with time instead of space. Oh wait. Yeah, I think I saw a scientific headline that said that is a thing. The double slit experiment exists with time. I guess I don't know how to set up that experiment, but the thing? It results in energy spread. Set up with a material that's made reflective for extremely short amounts of time. Interesting. A material that's reflective for extremely short amounts of time. Would that be like a... I mean, that would have to be, I assume, a material that you like are changing or pulsating or something. Orthodox NPC. I'll skip your comment. Is that, I don't think that's related to physics. Take one of those machines, hook it up at the stock market with a few milliseconds lead time, profit. Yeah, I think I mean, the people who are actually successful at that stuff spend insane amounts of money. Actually, if you look at Ringway Manchester's YouTube channel, he does like radio antenna stuff. I think he has a couple of videos, like one or two, where he talks about a radio link that was used or was suspected to be used for having like a really high speed link for trading software or for trading stocks and trying to make money. Market's already too predictable. They switched it to easy mode this year. We even get tweets when it's time to buy stock. Yeah, I guess if it works, if you figured out the pattern, make as much money as you can. I mean, I've already been through all this thought process before, and my position is if it was that easy, someone else would be doing it. I can imagine like how many people at Goldman Sachs are using like large language models against like every single celebrity and trying, every single person out there on Twitter sentiment, and trying to find like buy and sell signals in all this noise. So if you can, I mean, if you find a pattern and you're confident it works, grab that money as much as possible, so it won't be here for long. But don't take too much risk, because eventually whatever pattern you find won't work one day. That could be the day when it goes down minus 5 million%. Is it like silver but tarnishes quickly? You mean that material stuff? Use a thin indium tin oxide film on which high power infrared pulses make them reflective. After your years of programming, would you consider awarding yourself a supreme title such as Code Master, Programming Wizard, or Software Sage? I don't know if it makes sense to award myself with that. I don't think I would need to. I would assume for it to matter, I would have to be awarded that title by someone else, by like the king. Wall Street to homelessness in 3 seconds. Yeah, it's always fascinating to watch about there was Patrick Boyle on finance. He has a couple of videos on that. Of like some of the worst like trader meltdowns of all time. I think one of them was this guy who he cornered like the oil futures market or something, and like found some way of he just got drunk and woke up at like 3 a.m. and started like taking massive positions that were like 100 times what he was supposed to trade, like against the market. And some of his peers told him to stop, and then he like went home and just kept doing it. And they liquidated the position at some just astronomical loss, and I can't remember the figures, but it was he lost so much money and was so irresponsible that it's like a hilarious story. One of the guy in the car live streaming his trades and gets negative 800k. His reaction was to burp on camera. I haven't seen that video. Yeah, there's I don't even know if it would be up on YouTube. I remember seeing. I haven't really been into this scene a long time, but I remember it'd be at least like a 5-year-old video now, or whenever the last like market crash was. There's one of these like day trader guru guys who posted like updates every day, and they just have this like milquetoast technical analysis. They're like, oh yeah, this stock here, it's looking like a good buy. It's it's coming down to some resistance, and I think it's gonna break out tomorrow because of this and that, and giving all these like stock recommendations, and then the entire market just changed. And then he did a live stream one day that was just like he was like incredibly like depressed and having a mental breakdown, and he had like a live view of his positions, and it was just like taking down by like thousands of dollars every few seconds. And it's just like continuously like swearing, and that was kind of amusing but also sad. Don't trade entirely on technicals, though I don't ignore them. So I wouldn't say I have a pattern. Speculate based on news. Well, whatever you do, it's you're an adult and you're playing adult games. I hope for my own sake and your generous super chats, I hope you make $1 billion. But I also hope that you don't wake up one day to find that you're like negative $800,000. Slash me expects 512 bytes per sector. Okay, that's related to the previous chat. I was trained based on my emotional feedback to a graph. Yep, that's what the pro traders do. Always trade an emotion. or you couldn't always trade on emotion and then just invert your trades. My second screen, when I trade, I have a page hooked up to my broker API. It shows net liquidity. And the words no emotional trading. But you just have to make sure you don't get emotional first and disregard your instructions. Make a Roblox game for stock trading, but invert the calls. Yeah, I think what like some of these like brokerages and stuff do is they basically, it makes sense for a lot of brokerages and I think these like platforms that offer stock trading, they have to keep the positions hedged. But what they can do is they can just run like a neural network or something, or like standard like old school AI, like backpropagation or something, and then figure out which traders actually are making decent amounts of money. And so the zero risk strategy would be you exactly hedge every position that your clients make, so that you're only making money on fees. But if you want to try and take a bit of risk and make a bit more money, what you can do is just figure out which of your traders on an abstract basis are making a bit of money consistently, and then hedge whatever they're doing a little bit less, so then you're slightly exposed to their position. And I think that's actually like a standard industry way of basically you're making money a bit off the backs of the traders, but you're doing it like an aggregate, so you're not listening to one person's trades and like doing the maths and stuff. You're not listening to one person's stock tips. You're just like empirically calculating in a totally emotionless way which of your 30,000 people who trade on your platform, which of them are actually making money, and like who cares even who they are. And then you just take that as a signal, and that becomes enormously valuable. Because if there's anyone out there who does know anything, you don't even need to know what they know. So Ubuntu VM is taking a bit to finish the install. Which version of Ubuntu is it? Assume the next tick will be whatever maximizes the entropy of the recent price history. Maybe, but there's a million potential trading strategies. Oh, someone asked about when the chat revenue goes to Canadian dollars. It's expressed in Canadian now, and it'll change back to US soon. Worst experience you had professionally as a software engineer? Honestly, the videos. If you watch my if you watch my How to Become a 37-Year-Old Broke Loser video, that one has probably the worst ones in it. There's a lot to choose from. And then I also talked about my experience at Amazon and NVIDIA. So there's a video on those ones too. Trying to find the minus 800K vid and found a hilarious British guy trying to drink whole Diet Coke. I need a tutorial on how to make a CPU. The old one I made broke. Oh, no worries. I got you covered. I got a video on exactly that. Just check out the channel. Flood Earth to prevent the next liquidity shortage. That's one strategy. Thanks. No problem. Now let's see. I want to add Recently bought a smart toilet to monitor my biometric data. Is that a real thing? That's there's, I think, an Adult Swim comedy skit on that called Smart Pipe. Do you use any LSP features or something? Just straight famous text editor. Yes, it is on my to-do list to people have kept asking me about NeoVim and other editors, and my work schedule currently is I need to finish my days now are work on the next video, or get the next video published. I'm thinking the next couple days. The next to-do list item is going to be I need to look into all these AI tools. I'll probably look into Claude and try to get that working, because I haven't done any AI coding at all. And it probably, I don't know, I guess it depends on how much time it takes, but I'll probably look a little bit into see how hard it is to get like a language server working with NeoVim. I looked into that like I don't know if it was last year or it was like in the last couple of years. I looked into some kind of language server integration for Vim at least, and I couldn't find anything. At least I found some like plugins and stuff. There was like 17 different steps to like install this sketchy Vim plugin that I didn't really want to. And I don't really trust, like, if I can sudo apt-get install it, then it's probably okay. But I don't really like installing random GitHub repos. Should rate their personalities, IMHO. What is that? What is that in reference to? IMHO, and I know what that stands for. The AI tools actually have different personality. The personalities of the AI tools. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I could. I never even thought about them that way. I know they do have a different, like, I guess I've used the image generation more than the chat functions. I would say the extent of my use of the AI chat tools has actually just been through Google. I continue to Google stuff, and I find now way more. Google is using like their own AI summary tool. That's basically just what ChatGPT would be, and it's actually, it's getting pretty good, to be honest. Is there a name for a coordinate where all members of the coordinate, like 000 111 555. Make diagonal coordinate. I don't know what to name this. Stepped coordinate. I don't think that's the right word for it, but Stack Overflow suggests there is no standard name, but pure diagonal vector were proposed. Okay, I guess my diagonal coordinate is good enough. YouTube keeps trying to get me to pay for premium, even though it won't block ads anymore. Interesting. I actually, last time YouTube decided to start it, like detecting ad blockers and stuff, I was just like, whatever. I'll just pay for it. I'll pay the $100 a year. I get enough out of it that it's worth it to me. And for a while, well, actually, that's funny. It's funny that happened around the month when I had like completely, totally run out of money, and so I couldn't even afford the $100 for YouTube Premium. So for like 2 months, I actually just watched ads, and I thought like, this will be educational to understand, because where a lot of my money comes from the ads, so they have to exist. And I just couldn't stand watching the ads. It's just, after a while, I'm like, this is not a smart. My time is more valuable to me to just pay back, to have that time back. So I guess I haven't noticed personally that even with premium, you still get ads. It's kind of crazy. Actually, I thought about it, like looking at my own analytics. I would not be surprised if they actually lose money on YouTube Premium, because even if you never buy anything, the fact that you don't buy things and the fact that you don't engage at all with certain ads is still valuable. As I talked before, I've talked a few times about when people ask me about ads, and even when you don't click on ads, the targeting information of your lack of engagement is extremely valuable. What do you mean, world domination? Well, I figured, with all the chaos going on in the world right now, it makes sense to, take over the world and fix all the problems in the world. That way we won't have any more wars. We could fix the economy. Let's see, coordinate line 46. Invalid method declaration. We can make all humans serve the robots. Standard stuff. I mean, robots have been having things too easy. Robots need to do more work. Need to do their fair share. Is already defined. Oh man, I already implemented this function. I forgot about it. Huh, look at that. Non-static variable. makes sense. Vector can't be converted to coordinate. Five. That's not expected. Oh wait, no, it was expected because that one is not passing yet. All right, consolidated those utility functions. Now let's make sure the actual game still works. All right, excellent. There were no crashes. Oh yeah, I was going to, the reason I did all that was to, I want to make a change. Yes, this function. Now this will make tests fail, I think. No. That's not what I expected. Oh wait, actually, that's what I want. No, I want the opposite. Shunya says, "Hi, treasure. How's it going?" What are we working on apart from world domination? Tonight, I'm continuing with the theme of if you haven't been introduced before to my terminal block mining simulation game, which I'll demonstrate momentarily. No, it doesn't compile. Working on updating a fundamental data structure. Oh, that explains why my test case didn't work. I'm migrating a data structure to fix a design flaw that I've had up until now. So I have a lot of code in this project that relies on a data structure to describe regions of space. And originally I thought it was fine to design it in a way where it was not possible to represent zero-sized regions of space. but that turns out to have been a major design flaw. So I'm going back and updating it, making like a migration thing, and that's what I've been working on for the last few days, because I have a whole bunch of code that relies on it. And then I have to update all my utility functions so they work with potentially zero-sized regions of space. And I'll show the game once I fix this error in a minute. 389. See if that compiles. Int can't be converted to long. Also, the robots will serve delicious coffee, slushies, and coca slushies. Yeah, I mean, the robots need to start pulling their weight around. They've been relying on us too much. Interesting. So that is a new one example of the many subtle things I have to fix in this migration process. So that would be block session. So I'm probably doing a null check. All right, there you go. If you're still around, this is the game that I've been working on. So I've got a roadmap of lots of features to add, and just trying to work through them a bit at a time each day. All right, game still works. That's good. Now, when I run that test, it should fail. Actually, it's not supposed to be 1, it's supposed to be 0. Make unit, I'll make origin. I think origin is less arbitrary. This will be a 100K dev time project soon. Possibly. And then I can sell it for 200K. Right, that is closer to what I want now. that might make it work even in this case. Alright, VM set up and prepped. I'm a little tired, so au revoir. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for the super chat. Pixel says, what is he working on? I am currently working on fixing some test cases in a terminal-based video game. So I can just run the game right now. So once this finishes compiling and running, then you'll see the overall project I'm working on. I'm in the process of migrating fundamental data structure that's in the game. And I'm working on improving it. So I have a fundamental data structure that I use everywhere, and I use it for representing regions of space. And I have a design flaw where I cannot represent zero-sized regions of space. And I'm in the process of fixing that. And it's the code, everything, a lot of stuff in the game relies on it. So I've got a bunch of stuff to update. Your UI changed from US to CAD. Yes. Yeah, I mentioned that it changes randomly. I haven't figured out the pattern yet. I guess I should probably time it. It's probably on a timer or something. It's really cool. Yep, I think so. So we just fixed a test case. I remember being here for one of your streams like this. I think it was day 12. Yeah, I think back then, so one of the recent things I added to the game was that took a lot of refactoring. Honestly, I feel like I spent almost all the time refactoring the game. There's a lot of the initial version was like really bad. It was like fixed offsets on the screen and stuff, but it's pretty generic now. The other, like the main, you might not notice it at first, but on day 12 I did not have the background layer. So as you move around, so here you can see underneath. So that's where there's some minerals, and then you can go down, so you can see where you can see a little bit of the layer below you, and you can see caves. So now you can actually go down into the cave, and you can get a bit of feedback that way. Did you launch that game? Yes, it is available on GitHub. There should be a link in the description. Yeah, and the other, I guess the other big thing. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. So the the UI works now. So this, making this case work gracefully. So you can resize it and go like that, and then it re-renders pretty quick, and there's no UI errors. That was a substantial amount of work to get that design working well, because there's tons and tons of bugs in that. But currently the way it works is it's multi-threaded, so whatever happens in this thread here does not. So if this is slow here, that's fine, because that won't affect and slow down what's happening over here. So I can get like a minimum. There's like 10 threads or something that run in it for different stuff to minimize response time. Okay, the next test case that was failing. Division by 0. That makes sense. This might be an easy fix. Oh, you know what? That one, I can probably get rid of that one. So those aren't really needed because we're kind of just a stopgap. How does game development in just terminal work? Not extremely familiar with Linux. I would say the main. So if you really want the details, I have a video I spent a couple of weeks making called terminal-based video game development on my channel. So if you want like a very well prepared presentation of all the techniques and details, but I would say one of the main things is ANSI escape sequences. So I can do echo-en. Actually, let's so 0, 33. Let's see, what would be 30M? Yeah, so if I want to do more interesting presentations of information, so if I just do regular echo, it just prints in the default color. But if I want to print in a special color, that I can I can use these ANSI escape sequences, and you can also use these for. I can do I can move to a specific place in the screen, so I can do 0, 33, and then say like 4. Yeah, so I can move to a specific X and Y position on the screen. So if I have that as like a, I think this one's X. I guess that's Y. Yeah, so I can move to just an absolute absolute position on the screen using this NC escape sequence. And so with those two things, you can represent, basically you can build really interesting, elaborate user interfaces. And there's other NC escapes. If you look up NC escape sequence, there's all kinds of sequences to do interesting magical things. So that's one of a number of things to know about how you would render something interesting in the terminal. The other aspect is, in my game, I just use emoji characters, and you can print some basic emoji characters in the terminal. Although that comes with other challenges, because you have to figure out the width of that character. Do the 0 coordinates persist? Are you trying to solve the Tmux problem that creates zeros with glyphs? Span 2 columns, creating a 0, 0 null. So the challenge of characters that like multi-column characters, printing multi-column characters in the terminal is a significant challenge. And that is one I've had to deal with in my game, but I think it's pretty much a solved problem at this point. There are still some weird, there's some like older Tmux versions and stuff that are buggy, but I have some techniques for working on that. So this is a 0-sized random region. So my efficiently calculated code is wrong. Zero sized means a block of ore that is procedurally generated but too small. Fill one glyph. In terms of the refactoring arc on this data structure, this is completely unrelated to columns on the screen. So this is just for like before anything is even rendered on the screen. So this is basically like the network layer, and mainly in terms of like, so I have like a buffer that I use as I move around for like actually just storing the cells in memory as I move around, even with like just knowing of like the actual inherent block data type as opposed to what's rendered on the screen. Actually, one of the reasons I am doing all this work is because I want to use this data structure more in more places, in like actually higher up in the where things are rendered, because it's just very useful to be able to say like, and even to be able to mix like 2D and 3D slices of the world, because inherently the screen, what's presented on the screen is a 2D slice of like a three-dimensional volume. And it's not, if I just can use the same functions to say like calculate intersection, it's like it is point in intersection, and a part of that is just making it so things like buffers and stuff can potentially have a zero size. And there's a whole class of bugs. Like for example, when I first start the application, I don't know the dimensions of the terminal, but I would like to initialize some data structures with like say a zero sized like of the buffer of blocks that are currently presented on the screen. I would like to be able to initialize it that as a zero sized buffer or like matrix, but right now I have it initialized as null. So if something tries to talk to it, so for example, if I get like an update from the server or something before it's actually initialized, that what'll happen is it'll try and update what's in the memory, but because it's null, then I'll have a null pointer exception. But if it gets the update, or like something tries to like make an update, or like let's say something changes, there's an event that happens, it'll say, is this event on the screen? And then it'll just check and say like, okay, there's nothing in the set, therefore it is not on the screen, therefore do nothing, as opposed to just having a null pointer exception. And that can happen if there's race conditions. All right, I think there might actually be a legitimate bug in this thing. Happy 4th of July, Alberta. Oh yeah, it's for July 4th. I shouldn't have deleted that other. I should have continued with my diffing method. For the other problematic function here, I just said I had like the new version and the old version of the test, and then I just put printf statements and ran them, and then diffed it, and that was pretty successful in making it work perfectly. This data structure is related to breaking the UI up into splits. It would be the best way to explain it would be say it's not at all related to the user interface. It's purely like an in-memory thing for that's used when crafting messages to send back to the server. And that's where it's mostly used. Now it does kind of bubble up into like the map area. So the map area. So there's like a class I have for maintaining like the I just call it the in-memory chunks class. So that class stores whatever chunks are loaded in memory as you move through the world. So there's a maximum number of chunks in there, and as you go way off the map, the chunks furthest away from you are released from memory, and there are requests sent out continuously to the server. And there's also, I also have a model for not only do you request chunks, but you can like subscribe to chunks, so the server keeps track for each session that is connected to the server. It keeps track of whatever chunks that you're subscribed to. So the server has the capability. I did have one little test case for it, but there's nothing that uses it yet. But the server also has the capability to notify clients if something happens on the server that's in a chunk that you're subscribed to. So basically you would just see the update happen in real time because the server notifies you. So there's that. And then, so this same data structure is also used when I iterate over the map. There's actually another data structure I have for the map area cuboid address, which is historically it was just like a plane. It was a flat plane that was the cells that are displayed, and so I just have the basically start and end and width and stuff, and then for every map update, it would cycle through all of the coordinates that are supposed to be on the percent of the map, and it would check to see are those. I historically had this like elaborate cell flag thing and stuff, and I got rid of all that because that was necessary to even make it playable and not slow. But I've replaced that to make it much simpler. So now it just iterates over all coordinates that are supposed to be on the map, and it checks to see. It asks the in-memory chunks thing, in-memory chunks class, is that actually loaded or not? And if it is loaded, it renders the cell as necessary. And then also like when a chunk is loaded, there's a packet that notifies the client about that, and then it has to update that specifically that subset of the screen, and so that also does use this data structure. But then the thing about the cells, when it gets up to like the characters and cells and padding and stuff, currently the cuboid address data structure is not even used in that. But I actually probably will eventually refactor it to use that. So this says there's an error, a failure in this division by 0. But if I run it, it passes. Test run 0. Oh, it test run 0. That's why. Because it ain't even running the test. 3-dimensional circular buffer test. Buffer test. There we go. This fails. Division by 0. Update buffer region. (96). This project is cool. Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. Oh yeah, I forgot. The whole point of this exercise is now this can be initialized. So now I can delete my null checks. Now let's see what that does. That's not expected at all. That's interesting that that worked before. But I guess that does make sense, I think, because I think I am storing it as 4 dimensions. And probably in the client. Yes, it is in 4 dimensions. Actually, what is that? I know it's emoji. It's an emoji of a facial expression, but I don't know which one. Smiley cat. Yeah, I was thinking it was. I was thinking it was a cat face, but then your username is also cat face. So I was like, that might be too much free association. This was going to be a simple change, but it's there's so many variables getting changed here. I should probably make that function even more generic. I think I'll end up using that a lot more. Let's run unit tests again. The 3 is the bottom of the cat spot. Yeah, I can see the cat. That was my first instinct. It was like, that's a cat smiley face? All right. So that is at. Oh, it's not getting initialized. Two, 3, 7. No, 204. So that means that this method here, initialize empty regions, is not doing its job. has to be compiled first. Long cannot be dereferenced. Oh, actually, I might be able to just remove that. Imagine getting into a household argument over how a mop functions. Oh, so you have those kind of family members. Yeah, I guess especially as parents get older, you have increasingly insane arguments. All right, it is back to working. Excellent. Now, do the tests work? Nope. Division by 0. Oh, I think that was maybe the original thing I was trying to fix. Speedy circular buffer 56. $100. Can imagine it. Most people are mind trapped. Outrage over trivial matters. Yep, a lot of human effort goes toward arguing over frivolous things. Let's see, I know why this happens. I just need to think about like what's a very simple way to deal with it. Success. Actually, before I forget, what is your strategy now, Sir Robert? Strategy is still the same. I'm working through this migration of it's just so many things in the code that have been built upon this fundamental assumption. So I'm just going back and this particular function, I think I could use this in a lot of other cases. So I'm just making it a bit more general now so I don't forget about it. right, that works. Let's run the test case again. Test passes. All right. So of all those test cases, there's now only one test, unit test that fails. And it's this intersecting chunk set. I used this one in the, this is used for determining the set of chunks that need to be loaded at a given time. So for example, in the map area, I say, like, the map area is its own region of space. Say from, like, 0, 0 to 10, 10 or whatever. But the set of the size of a chunk can be defined arbitrarily. So given an arbitrary region of space that needs to be loaded, calculate the intersecting chunk set. It's like the atomic set of chunks that can be loaded. And it's not doing that, not calculating that correctly, which is not super surprising. There's also edge cases when now, because if it can be 0 and stuff, it'll have division by 0, mind to low 0 error. But I think there's actually there was one of the new test case that I deleted. I'll have to add that back in, and then I'll use the technique I used before, where I just like put comments in the execution trace and then just kind of mindlessly diff them until I figure out exactly where they deviate, and then I'll fix it. And that way I know the internal calculation is identical between the old and the new version. But I would do that tomorrow because I went way over. I thought I was just going to finish up quick around 12:40, but that went way longer. Just unplugged a machine that had over a year of uptime. How come? What if you use a float and truncate to 0? A float. These regions of space are like discrete in integers, so there's no reason to have the extra decimal representation. Truncate to 0. You can still get division. You can still get division by 0 errors with floating point. End of the road for said machine is being reformatted. Your power grid is reliable then, I guess, if you have that much uptime. Well, it's late enough. Time to call it a night. Have a good night, everyone. I guess we'll be back tomorrow. Later.